Okay, so most businesses believe that they're selling a product or service, and you may believe that as well, right? But what I want to encourage you to think of is that think about it differently. You're selling a solution to a problem. And if your customer doesn't see the problem, then to the solution, then they're probably not going to buy it. So I want to start with a story. So this is Amanda. So Amanda is a former IT consultant, and she'd witnessed the same issues in numerous companies she worked with. They had the same problem. They were hemorrhaging money due to recurring technical inefficiency. Now, she called this the silent drain. Now, she called it the silent drain because while it slowly took the company's resources, it went largely unnoticed. And recognizing the widespread nature of this issue, Amanda spent 2 years developing a software tool that could plug the silent drain. Now, she named this product the Drain Guard. Amanda was proud of her creation. Not only was the Drain Guard efficient and easy to integrate, but it also promised a potential savings of thousands of dollars annually for businesses. But to her surprise, when she started pitching it, she was met with lukewarm reception and outright rejection. Confused and disheartened, Amanda decided to seek feedback. She sat down with the CEO who had declined her pitch. He candidly admitted, "Amanda, I understand you built something that could potentially be of value, but I don't truly understand the problem it solves. Our systems seem to be working fine." It was then when the light bulb went off for Amanda. She realized that while she understood the silent drain because of her background, many business owners didn't even know it existed. They didn't feel the pain she was trying to alleviate. Amanda pivoted, and instead of leading with what she thought the Drain Guard did, she began her pitches with a demonstration of what was actually happening, showing businesses the tangible losses that they were having because they didn't have her software solution. She created visual presentations and case studies that spotlighted the problem first, and then it showed her as the solution. So I want you to think about this. Here's a question for you. Have you ever walked away from a product or service because you didn't fully understand why you needed it? Today, we're going to ensure that none of your customers ever feel that way. Okay, so I hope that story makes sense, right? So I'm going to talk to you even of a case that I have currently. So in my business, there is a software that I know that I need. And I think this particular company is the only company that has it, right? But when you go to the website, you know that whoever created this product were brilliant technological minds and they can do great things. But they're having a hard time explaining to someone like me, their potential customer, as to how do I use this product and what do I do? So there are two software products that they have, and I don't know which one I'm supposed to pick. And I've been having this issue for about a month, and I haven't felt like sending an email to find out how they can solve the problem for me or which product I'm supposed to purchase. So confused customers do not buy. And so I'm going to pull out some questions today from you so that you can make sure when you're describing your product or your service that you're doing it in such a way that your customer understands that they need you, or even if they didn't even know they had a problem, that you can solve it. So here's another example. And this is kind of random. It still is personal too as well, but I want you to look at this product. So this product is a product that cleans the water scales off of windows, not windows, but glass, right? Why does that matter? So this was a personal, again, problem that I was having. So many of you know I live in Portugal and the water is super hard here. So one of the things about moving out of the country is that in your home country, you've probably been dealing with products and brands that you know work for well over 2 decades, right? So I had specific brands that I work with that I liked when it came to cleaning. When I came to Portugal, I was completely clueless because a lot of the brands that I use here are not here, of course, which is fine. So you have to go testing and doing all this stuff, right? So here is the picture of a potential ad. And in the comments, thank you, honey. Good to see you, Solo 50 Plus. In the comments, I want you to tell me which one resonates with you. This picture, let me move my face off of it. This picture where it shows the before and the after. Or I'm going to read a testimony. So here's my testimony, and I'm reading it over here if you're wondering what I'm looking at. So when I moved to Portugal, everything was an adventure, from the vibrant culture to the sun-kissed beaches. But one expected challenge awaited me in the most unlikely place, my bathroom. The hard water here left stubborn water deposits on my shower glass. It felt like an ever-presented smear on my new life. No matter how much I scrubbed, disinfected, or wiped, it was as though my shower was perpetually stained, always reminding me of this battle that I could not win. Then I stumbled across this product. Skeptical, yet hopeful. I gave it a shot. The result? Nothing short of miraculous. In a mere minutes, those relentless water deposits had haunted me for so long, they vanished. It was more than just a clean shower. I felt I was able to reclaim a piece of my sanctuary, my bathroom. Thank you for giving me back my sparkling shower. So as corny as it is, that's my testimony. Which one resonates to you? The picture of the product or the testimony? Now, the reason why I bring this up is because your testimony talks about the emotion, the frustration I felt, other things that I have tried. And so I want you to think about these aspects of your product or service before your customer gets to you. You have to take yourself and put yourself in your customer's shoes. And so what that does, it helps your customer easily see that you are where they need to be because you are solving their problem. Okay, so funny. I found it in my flat. Yes. Okay. Yes. I want the product already. Okay, get the product. It works. I can. You in Portugal too? It totally works. Okay, so let's talk about some questions that you are going to have to ask yourself. You want to ask yourself this question because oftentimes when people want to start a business, they think about themselves. They do very narcissistic marketing, okay? And I don't want you to do that. I want you, if you're giving your gift to the world, that more people come to you and buy what you're providing. But you have to take yourself out of your head and think about your customer and what your customer needs, the emotion your customer is having, the problems they're having, so that when it's time to create your marketing message, you're able to speak that effectively, right? So with that being said, what are the questions that you should ask yourself? So let's talk about that. Now, either write these down or come back to the video. Now, again, we have identifying your marketing message. I gave you questions for those. Go answer those questions. Here, yesterday, we did what makes you unique. I gave you questions for those. Go answer those questions. Now we're talking about articulating your problem, and we have questions. I want you to answer them. This workshop is not going to be helpful, y'all, if y'all don't answer the questions, okay? So, all right, first question. This is about your core problem identification. What pain point or challenges does your product or service directly address? If your product or service didn't exist, what issues would your target audience face? Now, remember Amanda? The story we had of Amanda. In Amanda's case, her people didn't even know they had a problem. Okay, but because of her background and her expertise, she knew that businesses were losing thousands of dollars annually because they weren't fixing this, right? So what she had to do is she first had to share with her customers that this problem existed. And then her customers was like, oh no, I don't want to lose no money. What we got to do? Like sign me up, right? So just think about how much do your customers know. If they don't know, then you're going to have to lead with the problem. You have to make them first aware of the problem, right? And then you have to lead with yourself being the solution. But in the case of this product to clean, yes, Solo 50 plus, to get this water stains off of my shower glass, I knew my problem, right? I had been trying to find out what the solution was for a minute, and I had tried a bunch of different products, and this is the one that finally worked, right? So identifying the problem, what are the issues, right? Number 2. User perspective. How do your customers describe their problem? What terms or phrases do they commonly use when discussing the issue? So again, with Amanda, her people didn't know yet. For me, I knew that all the products and stuff and disinfectant and everything I put on this glass would not clean it, and it was frustrating me. In fact, frustration is probably the main word I would use. Why does that matter? Because when it's time for you to create your marketing message, you want to use words that your customers will identify with because they had this problem, okay? So customers will pay to solve a problem in any market. Not just in an up market, right? In a down market too, people will pay to have their problem solved, right? So think about the terms and the phrases that your customers use when they're talking about this problem. Number 3, depth of the problem. How does this problem affect your customer's day-to-day life? What are the long-term implications for your customers if this problem remains? Now, in the case of Amanda, companies are going to lose a lot of money if they didn't implement this, right? This is a big deal as companies are trying to save money. You didn't even know you had this problem. I showed you had it and I gave you a solution. Doesn't it make me more likely to want to work with you? In the case of my problem with this product or with needing a product, the way it affected my day-to-day life is I kept cleaning the bathroom and I keep seeing this water stains on my shower glass and I'm having issues. It doesn't feel clean and I don't like that, right? I sound neurotic, but that was the issue, okay? So, all right, now question number 4. Okay. Existing solutions. Now, does the target market currently deal with addressing the problem? And if so, what are the gaps or the inadequacies that exist in the current solution? So you may not be the first one who is fixing this solution, and that is okay. So here, even in Portugal, we have Uber and we have Bolt, right? And so Uber, they both do the same thing, right? Both of them are ride sharing. You can get on your app and you can get a car. Now, Uber, in my opinion, typically focus on tourists, right? So a lot of tourists don't know anything about Bolt, and you can't get Bolt unless you have a Portuguese telephone number. So when I try to order Uber and I can't get it, or the price is stupid, I pull up the Bolt app and I just get on the Bolt app and do the same thing. Same thing. One is more affordable. It's easier to use. So again, same thing. So think about the existing solutions in your business. Is something, or do you have competitors? What are they doing? What are the inadequacies? Okay. Number 5, unique solution proposition. How does your product or service approach the problem differently than competitors or existing solutions? So we talked about this a little bit last week. We talked about what makes your product or service unique. You need to think about this because this is what you're going to have to convey to your customer in order for them to want to work with you. Now, what unique benefits and relief does your solution provide to your customers? So when you think about this, you want to think like people don't buy to stay the same. You know what I mean? Like when they buy a product or service, they want to be a different person when they buy this product or service. So when you're creating your marketing message, how are they going to be different? Like state that. What relief? What are you doing? What's happening? Okay. So did I do that? What number are we on? We on 4? Okay. All right. Clearly. All right. Number 6, your tangible impact. Can you quantify the impact of the problem? Time wasted, money lost, emotional stress. So again, in the example that I gave you with Amanda, she could quantify what the problem was and how much money she could potentially save her clients. So if you have a situation where it's money saved, those are the best businesses to create because everybody wants to save money, right? So if you can save them money, how much? Over the course of a month, a year? What is it? Talk about that. Is it emotional stress? What is that emotion? Specify the emotion. Is it anxiety? Is it stress? Is it sadness? Is it happiness? Does it make you happy? What is it? Write this down because again, when you write all of these key words and things, you're going to come up with your message so that you can better convey what you can do for your customer, right? Excuse me. All right, next we have your emotional resonance. Now, this is really important because a lot of times we make a lot of our buying decisions based on emotion, right? Like what is affecting us and what makes us want it. So even though my personal issue was that I wanted something to clean the shower, the shower door, that was emotional for me because every time I clean, I wanted to look and feel clean and I could not feel like this felt clean because it still had stains on the glass, right? So that might say something small, and again, this is something small, but I want it could be a big thing as well, right? I want my bathroom to feel clean, right? So when I walk in there, what is the emotion that I may feel when it doesn't, or when the house doesn't feel clean or whatever? I'm really coming off sounding neurotic, right? Anyway, what emotion do your customers feel because of the problem? Frustration, anxiety, confusion, and how do these emotions shift? How do they shift after your solution, the solution your business company creates? After our solution is implemented, how do they feel? And if you want to get real fancy, you should say that in your marketing message as to how they feel, how are they different, right? All right, get your questions ready if you have any, because we're almost getting ready to wrap it up. Okay, validation. What feedback have we received from customers that validate the problem and the solution's effectiveness? Now, here is one thing. For your validations and having your testimonials, your case studies, and all of that, for those of you who are just starting your business, you're not going to want to hear this, but you probably need to talk to at least your first 100, 150 people. So if 150 people buy your product or service, you need to talk to them, whether it be you or someone on your staff. And the reason why I say this is where you get the feedback that is really going to be effective. Even if you knew someone, like if you're doing a service and you have a content relation management system, meaning you put out a lead, that lead may have shown interest and then they didn't execute. You need to find out why they didn't execute, at least on your first 150 customers. Do not just let people disappear, because that feedback can help you fix something. If in fact there's an issue in your business and someone did not execute or did not decide to work with you, and you can fix it immediately if you learn what it is, then you want to learn that soon. You don't want to wait to get this information. And the reason why I say 100 to 150 people is because when you're doing something, you need data. And if you talk to 5 to 6 people, that's not data. When you get enough specimens for your data, then you're able to see some correlations. And then you can say, oh, people are interpreting it like this. We didn't consider that. Because when you're a business owner, sometimes you are so stuck in your head that you aren't thinking in the direction of the customer. So when you communicate with the customer, you're more likely to fix those flaws. But you also can increase your customers' overall value because they'll stay with you because you care. Hopefully you care. Not just acting like you care. You actually care, right? So that's what I want you to consider. Talk to your first 150 prospects, whether they executed or not. If they didn't execute, you want to find out why so that you can fix it. So remember, in the example I gave you with Amanda just came up there, she was tech strong. She knew what she knew. And she was like, look, y'all need this. But then to the customers, like, look, everything, it look good over here. I don't feel like we need anything. And said, well, you're losing some money. Let me show you. And they said, okay. But if she wouldn't have never asked that question, she wouldn't have learned that. She would have thought that she spent her 2 years doing this and it was a stupid idea. It wasn't a stupid idea. It was just she didn't convey what the problem is that she saw, particularly to an audience that didn't even know they had a problem. Okay? All right. Did I forget where I was? Okay. All right. So let's see. That is not the right number. Please excuse me. Yeah, that's the same problem. Okay. All right. I think we're done. We're done because that problem shouldn't be there. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions? If we don't have any questions, we can close it out. You can go ahead and put your questions. If you're having issues, because some of you has expressed to me that this is the issue that you have. It's the expressing the problem that you solve is where you fall apart. And so let me real quickly, for those of you, if you're seeing this in the recording and you may struggle with how to articulate how you solve a problem, answer the questions we just went through. Like, don't just look at it. Sit there and answer the questions. That's going to help you, right? It's going to help you be able to better explain to your prospects as to how you solve the problem or the problem that you do solve, right? Think about Amanda. Think about the problems and the issues and the times you bought a product and why'd you buy it? Okay, so think about that. So yeah, also, if you are really struggling to find out what the problem is, it may be that the problem is not big enough to start a whole business on. Sorry, right? Like, I'm not trying to be a dream crusher, right? But starting a business, if you have not done it before, it's a lot of work. And in your mind, it may feel like a great idea, but if you can't show value to the customer, you are going to struggle to get sales. You're going to struggle to get clients. You're going to struggle for people to buy your product, right? So if it doesn't solve a problem, this is going to be a challenge. That's just what I'm going to tell you that. Not to discourage anyone, but I just want you to think along those lines as to what the customer needs, and that's going to make your life substantially easier. Again, do we have any questions? Okay, doesn't look like we have any questions. Testimony for sure. Great. Okay, I'm organizing an event. Although many people have visited. Okay. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me get my question and answer segment. Okay, just a quick reminder. Next week we are talking about listing your benefits and features, right? So last week we talked about what makes you unique, and if you haven't seen that, please check that out. This is video 4, right? Because we got, I think, make 3 more videos until we finish the whole unique value proposition, right? So when you are talking about your product, you need to lead with benefits, because people buy benefits, they don't buy features. And a lot of time businesses are talking about the features. So we're going to fix all that. We're going to make sure that you're not making those mistakes. We're doing that next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Okay. All right. So is that okay? All right. Let's see what we have here. And broadcast. Okay. So Black Women Build Wealth. Yes, I'm organizing an event, and although many people have visited the site, less than 10% have purchased the tickets. How would you suggest to address that? So the first question I would ask is, when you say people visited the site, did you have some type of tracking indicator to have an identifier to know where they came from? So that's usually done with a UTM, unique identity. Well, anyway, sorry, I'm getting too tech. So yeah, if you know where they came from, let's say you only advertise on one medium, right? Let's say you only advertise it on Instagram. Then most likely the people that came from your 10% came from Instagram. So you can do a couple of things. If you have some indication of the people, you can send out a quick message. So if it was on Instagram, you can do questions, right? And you can just ask. You can say, for those of you who haven't registered yet, tell me in a couple words, why haven't you registered? Be honest. Just allow them the opportunity to be honest. It could be something really short. It could be maybe they don't like the lineup, or maybe they don't like the price, or maybe it's the date. It could be a variety of things, but ask them. If you have an email list, which I suggest everybody who is a business owner to have, many of you on my email list, just shoot an email back. Here's the registration, guys. If you haven't registered yet, if you can be so kind as to reply back this email and tell me, be transparent. Like, listen, build your business off of transparency. It won't feel any kind of way. If I didn't register and I got an email like that, I'll reply like, listen, I actually 1 out of 10. I just can't make it on this date. Is there a recording? It could be a variety of things, right? And for the 10% who did say yes, you could also send the email to them, because those you can identify, right? You know who they are. Depending on how the people came to your website, you may not be able to identify them. But for the ones who did buy them, ask them why. You can get data from both sides, if that helps. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have further questions on it. Okay. Okay, VH. Let's see. Cinnamon, you are awesome. Thank you, baby. This is highly valuable instrument that you are providing for free. Bless you. Oh, thank you, honey. Yes, I'm doing this for free because I want people to get this information. Okay, now, yes, I do. So yes, you do. Yes, you do specifically can identify the people who visited the site. Is that what you're saying? If you're saying yes, that you can identify these people, just ask them. Okay, great. You got it. Okay, great. So you got it. Go ahead, ask them why they haven't in the nicest way possible. No one's going to feel any kind of way about it. They're going to be excited that you even care, right? Because you should, of course, right? But just ask people. A lot of the stuff, it isn't even that difficult. Just ask people. Again, for the people who have not signed up with you, even if you're providing a service, like if you have a renovation company or whatever, and you had all these people, actually one of my mentors told me this like 20 years ago. He's like, if people have reached out to you and they didn't close the deal, in 6 months, get your sales team. If you don't have a sales team, you get on the phone, get in the email, find out why they didn't close. Sometimes you'll find out that they went with someone else or because the price was too high. But whatever you do, you need to know that information so that you can adjust. And it's free. Like, you don't have to pay to get this type of data. So why not get it? And it can save your whole business just from, doing that. So if we don't have any questions, and this is going to be a short one, we did it in under 30 minutes. Perfect. All right. Any questions? Going? No. All right, folks. So if you don't have any questions, we are going to end it. But again, I'll be here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll talk about your features and your benefits. Please, if you haven't watched the other trainings, Please go watch Identifying Your Target Market. That's going to be important. What makes you unique? That's going to be critically important. Of course, answer the questions on this video and all of the others. I hope this was helpful, and until next time.